Here are the instructions for the hand warmer to help ease arthritis pain. Your materials, you're going to need lining fabric and outside fabric. This has to be 100% cotton because you're going to use it in the microwave. For the lining, you need 12 3/4 inch by 7.5 inch, 2 of these. And for the outside, you're going to need 12 inches by 7.5 inches, 2 of those. And I've put the measurements in centimeters for those of you that use centimeters. I had originally made a mitt, and it worked okay, but I noticed that the rice had trouble staying up in the thumb part. So we're going to go to a rectangle, and I think that's going to work much better for us. You need rice, which will hold the heat. You can also use flaxseed, deer corn, or pinto beans. All right, we'll get started. Okay, now we're going to put it together for sewing. You'll notice that the lining is just a little bit longer than the outside, and that's correct. That's the way it's supposed to be. First thing you're going to do is put the 2 lining pieces together, right sides together. So, then you're going to put the 2 outside pieces together, right sides together. Lay the outside pieces on top of the lining pieces. And you'll notice you've got a little bit of the lining hanging down. Now, you want to pin or clip all 4 pieces together. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this to the sewing machine, and you're going to sew a 1/2 inch all the way around these 3 sides. You're going to leave the longer side and the top side, this side, open. You're not going to sew here. All right, we'll take that to the machine and we'll sew it. Okay, now we're going to sew along the 3 sides with a 1/2 inch seam. I apologize for the darkness. I don't have a ring light, so we'll just have to make do. I have the setting set on 2. Stitches are a little bit tighter than I normally do, because we don't want that rice getting out. Okay, we'll come down to the bottom. Pivot. Oh, need a little bit, one more stitch. Pivot. Pivot. Backtrack. All right. Now, because this is going to have rice in it, I'm going to go back and I'm going to do another stitch all the way around at a 1/4 inch. That way, if one of the seams fail, you got another seam and you don't have to worry about rice getting everywhere. Now at the corners, I'm going to kind of just bring them together. So we've got double at the corners. All right. Okay, now we need to clip the corners. Make sure you don't clip into the stitching. Now we're going to turn it. Now the turning is going to be a little bit different than what you think. You're going to take your hand and put it between the two outside layers. So you're going to have 3 layers on one side, 1 layer on the other side, and turn it. And poke out all your corners. A knitting needle comes in handy to do that, but don't poke a hole through or you're going to have rice all over everything. Okay. Now I'm going to take this over to the iron and iron it flat. Here's the part that's a little bit tricky. We'll see if we can do this without my cat interfering. Shoo, pal. Shoo. Okay. I've got the rice in a measuring cup so I can pour it. I am going to open between the liner and the outside edge on one side. And I'm going to pour the rice in. You have to be careful or the rice will go everywhere. Believe me, I know that from experience. Try it that way. Okay. That was about 2 cups. I hope I'm going to have enough to do it. I have to. Okay, we're going to go back. All right, you don't need a ton because when you get it sewed, you're going to flatten it all out. Now you're going to turn it over and you're going to do the same thing between the outside and the lining on the other side. So let's believe me when I tell you it's much easier to pour from the measuring cup than straight from the bag. Okay, that was actually more than the other side, so I'm going to put a little bit more on the other side. All right, so now we have the bag. What I want to do now is take this over to the sewing machine and I'm going to sew. I'm going to pull out the lining. Let's see if I can do this. And again, I apologize for the quality of the video. I'm going to take the lining and the outside edge, and I'm just going to baste it together close to the edge all the way around. That'll keep that rice in there while I'm doing the binding at the top. Two things. First thing I did was stitch this around the edge. So you've got an opening here, and this is stitched on. And then I went to the iron and I just turned under a small edge. Need to trim these two. The very last step, we're going to turn this edge over and we're going to top stitch it down, and then it's going to be finished. So let me do that quickly and I'll show you the finished product. Okay, so I top stitched this down and it's ready to go. When you put it in the microwave, I'd start at 1 minute and then add 30 seconds and then add another 30 seconds if you need it. Don't go over 2 minutes, because if you do, you're going to get burned rice and it does not smell good. Now, a couple of things before we finish. I think I added a little bit too much rice in this, so this is pretty heavy. So you might want to cut down on the rice a little bit. I also had a thought as I was going. Instead of going around all 3 sides, what you could have done is go around 2 sides, have an open top and an open bottom, fix the bottom like this, and then pour the rice in, and then fix the other side. That way you'd have a tube that you could slip your whole arm through, and if your arthritis is bothering you on your elbow, you could slip it all the way up. You could use this on your feet too. Well, I hope that helps. If you have any questions or problems, just private message me on Facebook. My name's on the post, and I'll try to answer your questions the best I can.